I'm Ernest and this is the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about why I became a mechanic. So I've got this question a ton of times in my comments throughout the years that I've been on YouTube. And honestly, I think this video would help people who are interested in becoming a mechanic themselves. I'm not saying you have to have the same personality traits I do to become a mechanic, but I'll talk about the favorite things I enjoy about being a mechanic and why I wanted to become a mechanic. That might give you an idea of, hey, that totally isn't for me, or that's the sort of stuff I like too. But first and foremost, it was kind of like the easiest path for me to go in life. Everything in life kind of just flows to like what's the simplest and easiest thing to do. At least I try and do that. And I grew up working on cars for years. We just flipped cars growing up to earn a little extra money. And so it was something I had experience in, something I had done my whole life growing up. Amongst other things, I definitely could have chosen a different career path. I did a lot of different things growing up. But this was something I already knew and was a little interested in. Plus, that experience was what led me into it in the first place. I came out to Utah and I was going to college. And I would just flip my own cars while I was at college to earn some extra money. You know, that's exactly as you'd expect. Some people saw that and they would ask me if I could fix their cars for them. And I would do it for cheap. You know, I would do it way cheaper than like a shop would charge or something. And I was like, man, I'm making way more money than I am at my part-time job while I'm going to school. So I was doing deliveries at the time, which is a cool job, but that's definitely not a career. So I actually started to build up a client base without even ever advertising, just because people who lived around me and people who were in my classes at school kind of caught wind of what I was doing, and I was like the best, most reliable place to get your car fixed, and I was cheaper than everyone else. And people have always called me Honest Ernest, so it's just something I've always lived up to. Well, that helped me grow a ton of clients, and at that time I was like, you know, I'm going to quit doing my part-time job and start doing mechanics. After like a year of that, I was going to school, and I was more stressed going to school because I was having to take time out of work to go to school. And I realized like I just wanted to be working whenever I was at school. So after like a year of doing that in the pandemic, I decided I was done with college. But that's something that would be there for everybody. Demand is super high for automotive mechanics. In fact, if you want to go into like getting a degree, I would recommend automotive engineering. But if you're just interested in fixing stuff, demand is super high for mechanics. So you could specialize or get degrees and be worth a little bit more, or you could just jump straight into an apprenticeship. You usually don't have to have tools if you can find the right place, like an apprenticeship. They'll let you go buying your tools as you work there. But that is something that mechanics have to do, is buy their own tools. That being said, look at the brands on most of my tools. You're not going to see any Snap-on or anything that's super expensive. And that's because I strongly believe that all tools are created equally. All you need is the right tool to do the job. You don't need the expensive one. And that wraps back around. If I would have worked at a shop, I think I would have been making similar to what I was doing, making deliveries. So I might not have ever jumped into it if it was just for the pay. But when you consider the long-term career of being a mechanic and opening your own shop, it was definitely something that was worth more to me than a career with somebody else. And I mean that by like going to school and getting a degree and getting a job somewhere else where there's sort of a limit. If I open my own shop and I'm reputable, then I can open another shop. And if I'm my own boss, then there's no limit. So that brings me to my next point. My whole life, I loved fixing stuff. Ever since I was a kid, I loved hearing stories about people taking stuff apart and putting it back together. I loved watching people take stuff apart and fix it. And I loved personally sneaking into stuff, tearing it apart, figuring out how it worked, and trying to put it back together without getting caught. So my whole life, I've loved fixing stuff. Even if it was broken, I always tried to fix it myself. So if you're like that, you might love being a mechanic. Something that was important to me also was I always wanted to work for myself. I didn't want to have this limit of, or this expectation that I had to do exactly what somebody else expected me to do. I just wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do. Obviously, I always want to fix the job right when it comes to doing a repair, but when it comes to operating my own business, I don't want to be stuck underneath somebody else. But you don't have to do that. You could just plan on being a mechanic in somebody else's shop your whole life. And while the pay might not be the most competitive, it is a pretty stable environment. I also really like helping people, my customers, get their car back on the road safely and fixed the right way. So that's kind of why I want to be my own boss as well, because I want to be the last guy to know and to be sure that, you know, it's my reputation on the line. I'm Honest Ernest, and when the customers come to me, their car is going to be fixed the right way. That's because I personally get that satisfaction, and doing a repair, but I also get satisfaction in knowing that other people are comfortable and happy with what's done as well. And the last point is, especially nowadays, blue-collar trades are on the rise. I think pay is going to get better for blue-collar trades. I think the technology that's going to go into the automotive scene is going to be awesome. So newer techs who are going to start specializing in how to repair EVs or how to do things that are just going to be harder to do on newer cars that have more technology, you're going to be worth a little bit more. So I think this particular blue-collar job is going to be worth more in the future, as well as most. And if you don't want to work on any sort of future technologies in automotive repair, you could always be the guy that opens his own classic repair shop, and you could repair all the gasoline engines. So I think even if you're unsure where you want to go with being a mechanic, if you ever want to go out by yourself and specialize in something and open your own shop, or you just want to work for somebody else your whole life, most everybody's going to start in the same place. I'd recommend just going to a shop and getting a job or an apprenticeship. After getting educated or comfortable and acquiring your own tool set, then maybe you can consider what you want to do with your future. I love being a mechanic. It's definitely where my life pulled me in this direction. I find satisfaction in repairing cars and helping people out. And I think it's a valuable trade whose value is only going to increase. So if you made it this far in the video, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What makes you want to become a mechanic or made you want to become a mechanic? Or let me know what you don't like about it and maybe I'll make a video about that. Make sure you're subscribed if you like the video. Check out this video next. I'll see you there.